Welcome back, guys. This is Ibrahim Qureshi here, and today we are going to do something completely different. So I'm going to show home users who are going to use their resources, your Windows machine, and use the hosted hypervisor, which is VMware Workstation, and create a brand new lab. There's a caveat there that you need to have enough memory and CPU to be able to do that. By that I mean you need to have at least a 32 GB or a 48 GB server. Now I have a guest here on my channel today whose lab we are going to use today for installing. So as you can see, we are going to install ESX 7.1, FreeNAS and vCetner hopefully, and maybe a Windows server for DNS and all that. But let's see how it goes. So we'll see how it goes. So first thing, I'll show you how to install Workstation, and then we'll start on from there. So let's get back to the Zoom session, and I have Ahmed, one of my friend here, and this lab is going to be for on his environment. So let's get started. Hi Ahmed, you're on the screen now. I can see your video as well.
Yeah, hey guys, I just want to let you know the hardware we're using. Ibrahim was so gracious enough to let me use my hardware. I have a Dell T610, and I have quite a bit of CPU. I don't know exactly how much, but Ibrahim did his due diligence and checked it out, and he verified. He gave me the stamp that it was enough. I have about 48 GB RAM memory, so I think I'm good to go using my own thing, which again, Ibrahim was so able to graciously let me test out on my own environment. So with that being said, I think you're gonna go and show me how to go ahead and install, because I actually did a mistake of installing VMware on my C drive, and that led to a problem because it wouldn't let us add more hard disk space without using hard disk space from the C drive. So that was a question that I proposed to, Ibrahim, and he actually recommended me uninstall, and he's going to show me how to put it on my F drive.
Okay, so what we basically are going to do is, so we also found another thing. So we had Hyper-V enabled on this machine. This is the 2016 or 2019 machine. I don't know which one it is, but we'll find out which one it is.
It's actually a 2008 R2. I have license key, and once I go ahead, yeah.
Okay, so 2008. Okay, that's fine. So basically what we did, we uninstalled the Hyper-V because you can only have one hypervisor running and controlling the hardware. Okay, so the hypervisor we are going to use is Workstation, which is a hosted hypervisor. I apologize, I'm talking fast, but this is going to be a super fast session, right? It's a lot of things which we are going to cover, as I said. So the point which Ahmed was making is we had Workstation installed on C drive, but we are going to actually use the F drive for the installation. So we'll go and start doing the installation first. Ahmed, can you, what is this in the middle? I think it's the Zoom.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let me go ahead and get that out of your way. I'm sorry about that.
No problem.
Wait, no. Here you go.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so we have this setup here. And again, this will be a 60 days trial we will be using. We are not going to install any keys or anything at this point, but it's good for you to have a lab for 60 days, and if you are happy and you want to keep it, you can go ahead and buy licenses from VMware. So what we'll be minding here is we'll be keeping an eye on the location where this is going to be installed, and we'll basically make sure that it installs on the F drive, which is the drive which has roughly around 1 terabyte space.
Hey Ibrahim, I'm sorry, if you can see on the computer on this side there's like a weird icon. That's actually your video being broadcasted on mine, so I'm gonna go ahead and drag it all the way down here.
Yeah, that's fine.
It doesn't get in the way. Is it still there? Okay, perfect. It's gone.
Yeah, it's gone. Yeah, that's fine. So in the recording, both of our videos are there anyway. So on my window, I can see you and myself as well. So people, you guys are not used to seeing my face, so yeah, you need to better get these straight. So click on next. Accept the terms and conditions. Click next. So it is actually a 2012 R2, not 2008. which is good because 2008 is quite outdated really, and I was wondering, really it's a 2008? It doesn't feel like that. So yeah, it is a 2012 R2 as you can see here on the desktop. So
no, yeah, actually I had the license. I was waiting to get a 500 gig SSD, so that way I can go ahead and do a standalone upgrade.
Yeah, that's fine. This evaluation is more than enough for us to do our job really. That's why these things are there, right? So we are going to click next.
And I really don't know why it's acting this slow. It's usually...
Yeah, it is slow, isn't it? Yeah, that's what I was feeling just now. I was about to mention that. Let's quickly see what's happening here. It's nothing used, right? So as we mentioned, this computer basically has quite a lot of CPUs. Let's see. So processors are not a lot. Memory, you can see it has 48 gig memory. Yeah, so it's good memory. So that's I'm looking at least 32 GB memory to, well, 32 GB is a bit short because you need to understand that your host OS is going to take some as well. So I think 48 gig is ideal. That's the sweet spot for us really, because you are actually giving some memory for the host, leaving some memory for the host, and also then you have your lab running on there, right? So
actually on this side it says I have 16 cores, logical cores.
Yeah, that could be it. Yeah. So basically, when we are on the task manager, you can click on open resource monitoring, and then there you go. You see all your stuff here, all the cores.
Nice.
So these are each and every core. So that's a really nice hardware to play around. I have seen another friend of mine in US. He's using a similar hardware. He has a cluster of 2 running ESXi. So that was good. So okay, let's get back to, I think it's working as we expected. So add VMware Workstation console tools in the path. So this is where we need to change the path. So this is where we need to be careful and then use change. I would suggest just basically, if I would do the setup, I would not touch where it is installing. I would just change it to D. And we need to basically not touch that program files folder on the D drive when you're deleting stuff.
I understand, but I think my drive was F.
I think it's F. Yeah, you're right. So you later on added it, right? So yeah.
Okay.
So yes, double check it. Yeah, there you go. That's right. It's F. So that's fine. Leave it at F. We don't really need to touch that. So click on OK. And then click, see, now it's going on F drive, which is fine. And then click on OK. Enhance keyboard drivers. We don't need all that. That will require a reboot. We don't want to reboot. Click next. And we want shortcuts. Yeah, that's fine. And then install. Now I have to remind you guys, if you do select enhanced drivers and stuff, you will need to reboot at this installation. And again, with Windows, it's always good to reboot when you are doing any installation or uninstallation specifically. Like earlier, we uninstalled the Hyper-V role and we rebooted this machine to make sure all the settings have been especially the installer services. When it is used for installing something, it needs it requires a reboot before you can do any other installations on the machine. So that's very important. So there you go, we are nearly done here.
Do you think because we're installing it not on the C drive, which is the SSD, but onto the F drive, which is the HDD, it's going to be a bit slow?
It will be, but it wouldn't make much difference, right? Obviously, once it's up and running, the lab is a lab, right? Obviously.
Right.
For the purpose of the video, of course, it's going to extend the video time, but it doesn't make much difference. People can, skip ahead. We can put pointers there with timestamps, so people can jump from, vCetner installation or ESX installation. So that's always going to be there. We can add those things in there. There you go. This is done. So it's basically press the license key button to put the license. So we'll finish at this point, and then I don't think we'll need to do the licensing. Let's launch it. Okay, I want to use Workstation 16 for 30 days. So okay, it's not for a month. It's for 60 days. It's not for 60 days. It's for 30, which is fine. Ahmad, if you like this, you can go and obviously license it later on. So let's continue for now. Okay, so it's looking for a license key. Go. Okay, so we have launched the workstation and this is version 16. We are going to create our first ESX host. So I will right click here. Now for some reason, working on a workstation, scan a virtual, no, that's not what we are doing. Okay, create a virtual machine. Let's do it from here. Next. So we are going to use this for compatible with ESX version 7. Now one thing which we need to do is we need to go, this is what we need to do. Basically we need to select, this is fine, but you need to make sure that the guest OS we are installing is going to be ESX, right?
I'm sorry, you lost me for a quick second. Can you please repeat that? Because I thought we were working with VMware ESXi 7.
Yeah. So there are two things. So the virtual hardware which we will be having is either for ESX 7 or 16. Okay.
Okay.
Or we can select workstation 15 or 6.5. Okay. But
okay, fine. But will I still be able to put my 7.0 ISO?
No, so this is why we are going to select, this workstation 16.x compatible with that. Okay.
Okay, sure.
This is just a virtual machine, right? And on top of it, whatever we install, we'll basically use that anyway.
Okay. I understand.
Okay, so we could potentially use this and ESXi 7. So it says compatible product is all these anyway. Can you see that?
Yeah. Okay.
So either way, it doesn't make. So okay, So if you just.
Okay, fine. So yeah. Okay.
If you just select that, you see the difference, right?
Yes.
So select that and you get more flexibility. That's what I mean, basically. Yeah.
Okay.
Click next. So basically we have the ISO downloaded already. We are just going to use the same one. This is 7b2, which is the latest update 2 which we have downloaded. VMware it's called when you download it. So we are selecting the version 7 and then basically click next. And then the location we are going to basically use the F drive as we mentioned. So we'll go down and we have actually created subfolders to install these. So we'll be basically putting all the data in here in this particular drive, and this is going to be named ESXi01 and naming the ESX. There you go. That is the name, as I said, ESXi-01. So it's consistent and we know what it is. So we already had a machine created there with a similar thing. So it's basically saying specified location appears to contain an existing virtual machine having two.
Hold on a second. Yeah. Hold on a second. Let me check because I actually deleted. I'm just gonna take control 1 second. I actually deleted the.
Yeah, let's have a quick look on the folder. So what we'll do is we'll get rid of the data which is there because we are just doing a new installation.
Oh no, there is nothing already there.
So there is that drive, right?
Oh yeah, there is nothing. Yeah.
So delete that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now we're in business. Okay, you can take over.
So now it shouldn't give us that error message now. So number of CPUs 2 is enough. We could potentially give 4.
Okay, wait. Let me just stop you right there real quick.
Yep.
Is it okay if you go back? So I was told that in order to actually increase speed, you can leave this to 2
and increase the cores. There are 2 ways to do it. So there is no real benefit on what you do or how you do. You get the advantage. Like there are so many pros and cons with this. Yeah, I can achieve processor cores 4 by doing 2 processors and 2 cores from each processor, or I can do 1 socket and 4 cores from 1 socket. See, and the end result is the same. Yeah.
I see.
So the one thing is, if you are having multiple virtual machines running and you're using this setup, then basically you're not waiting for the virtual machine for the CPU sockets to be available on both the side.
Okay.
So
okay,
one
okay.
CPU has 4 cores available. You get the data to use what you want to do. So
okay, fine. So yeah.
Personally speaking, I would really do how you told me, literally like that. So use both the sockets and 2 cores from each socket.
Okay, cool.
So that's a good point to clarify. So and then we'll basically stick this one at 16 gig. Hopefully we'll be installing other stuff in here. So click next. And we'll be natting here. Sorry about that. Okay, so yeah, that's fine. And then we'll leave it SCSI. And then we'll be creating a virtual disk. Create new virtual disk. Next. Interesting. Yeah, that's fine. It's actually going and sitting in the F drive, but that is the space it is showing at the moment.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because that's how much it's recommended, I guess.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll store it on a single disk so we know what it is rather than splitting it. And I really want this not to be exceeding 10 gig.
Okay.
Okay, we can have it in 10 gig, no problem with that. So allocate space now. We will not be allocating now because we'll be thin provisioning it. Click next. That's the name of the disk. Yeah. Next, and that's it. Pretty much we are done here. If we go click on hardware personalization, and then there you go, the CPU VT is already selected. Okay, so that's what need to be selected to install ESX. So give it a couple of seconds, it gets created. There you go, and then we just need to power it on.
Hey, Ibrahim, is it okay if you actually minimize the library just so that way we can get a full view of what's going on?
We'll go. Yeah, I was expecting this. So basically, what is happening is it is checking whether the so inconsistent data while loading VMX compression. So this could be 2 reasons. Let's have a quick look at this. Personally, what I was thinking was we didn't enable VT, or you know, when we did the installations for nested, we enabled the CPU virtualization. Yeah.
Right, but we didn't enable the counters.
Yeah. So that is what I think it is. But let's power this off first because we can't make changes to the hardware without powering it, with leaving it powered on. So let's shut it down. Okay, now.
And I did want to clarify that I did enable virtualization from the BIOS.
BIOS, okay. VT is enabled, virtual performance counter. Now there should be something else. I'm not looking for this. There is basically in ESX, if you're having ESX directly, there is something which is called enable virtualization. So but we selected this virtualization VT engine, that is there.
Can I go somewhere on the options real quick?
Yeah.
Let me just take control. Okay, and do you want to take control of the screen?
Yes, please.
Okay, awesome. Yeah.
So guys, we figured out that basically what has happened is the ISO which was downloaded, we previously had an error, so it was pretty much corrupted. That's why it was unable to unzip itself. So what we did is we went ahead and downloaded a new ISO for 7. So we just tested it with 6.7 and it is working. So we are basically going to do the same. There you go. This is the version, and this is not, as you can see, it's the older version. It's not the update one. It's a good idea to have the older one, then you can learn an exercise of doing upgrade as well. So okay, so we added the new one now. Power it on. Hopefully it should not error out like last time. Let me expand this. It is coming in a very small window. Hang on, let me click
Hey, look, I'm just going to take control. I'm just going to minimize that for you.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's fine. For some reason, I think because we have this camera here, can I move these cameras? Maybe I can just say.
So you're right. My old ISO was corrupted. So thank you for pointing that out. So that's very important. If you're ever stuck on a problem like that, I just learned firsthand.
Yeah.
It's the ISO issue. So
It
make
was
sure.
an ISO issue, right? Yeah. So there you go. Now it is booting. You can see that clearly.
Uh-huh.
I'm still not very happy with the resolution I'm getting. Let me. It's only my side. Let me adjust my Zoom session. Okay, give me 1 second.
Sure thing. Take your time.
So Zoom fit window, original size. Okay, and what is this? 200.
Ibrahim, Mike, can you actually give me 5 minutes? Let me go run down and get a cup of water real quick.
Yeah, go for it, mate.
Sure. Thank you very much.
So guys, this is the error message we are getting. This is basically not compatible with version 7. I'm going to give it a go with 6.7 and see whether we can install 6.7. As I said, we are running I wouldn't have thought that it would give this error message, because I have seen people use this machine, you know. So this is basically a Dell T series server. So let's give it a go with a new machine 6.7. So let's quickly create another one. Create a virtual machine. Next, we'll select ESX6 for now. Let's leave it at that. So browse and select version 6.7. Again, this is live troubleshooting, guys. You might end up seeing these problems as well when you're doing installations. So we are going to save it at this location. It's going to create a new media, ESXi 6-01. So that's the name we are going to call it. So 2 CPUs, let's do that. Stick to 16 gig. Next. Happy with that. Happy with that. Happy with that. Create a new virtual disk. Yep. Next. Create a 10 gig disk. And then we'll keep it in a single location. There you go. So pretty much we are done. We go up a level. I would create a folder here. ESXi 6-1. Leave it in that. That's where we are storing the virtual disk. So that's pretty much done. Finish, and then we should be able to power it on. So power is off in the background. No, let's leave it. Okay, let's see. Let's go full screen. And that is a supported CPU, Xeon E5620. I'm not too sure why 7 was complaining about that. But anyway, let's see. So in terms of features, I would say 6.7 or version 7 doesn't have a lot of difference. We could probably install version 7 on the nested environment. Basically install a version 7 on 6.7, like even nesting on nested. So that's something you could potentially do if you really want to have a version 7 installed. But for the purpose of having a lab running in your house with the workstation, if you have a supported version of CPU, it shouldn't stop you from installing version 7. That's what I want to basically say. So we'll find out pretty soon. We are at the same point again. F11. Excuse me. Okay, though that is the 10 gig drive which I have assigned. Press enter, continue. Leave it as default. This is UK. Just going to quickly set a password. So this message basically is acceptable. So what this is saying is the future versions may not be supported. So we can still install this particular version. So that's a tip, guys, for this particular CPU. If we have, do not buy this hardware because you won't be able to install version 7. However, as you can see, it's clearly saying that this particular version is CPU warning. CPU in this host may not be supported in the future releases. Okay, so that's what it says. I'm just going to pause for a moment. I'm going to wait for Arafat to come back. Ahmed Arafat to come back. I just started the recording again just to fill you up. Okay, so we had a problem with version 7. The CPU which you are running is not supported for version 7. So I went ahead and started installation for version 6. So this particular CPU is now giving you warnings that it basically is happy to install on this particular version, but in future releases it won't be supported. Okay, and we literally saw that because I have another installation here in the
right. But what do you mean? What do you mean my CPU can't handle it? Because I have a Xeon processor.
It is, but obviously this is the E series, right? So VMware has started putting it in the Xeon processor. That's actually gone a lot. That is quite old CPU, right? It's
the Xeon processor is actually old.
No, Xeon processor is Xeon basically is a name for enterprise grade server hardware CPUs, right?
Okay.
But in that particular one, the model of CPU which you have, which is the E26, that particular version is going end of life now. Basically, they are removing the support for very old CPUs. Now, imagine this was like 8 years ago, and basically VMware says you need to have 5 years write-off for hardware anyway. Do you get my point? So I will quickly go back and show you the other. Where do we go back to the computer again?
Okay, so basically you're telling me from here on out I can only run 6.7?
Yes, on this particular hardware, yeah. So see this ESXi 6 is the one I started, and it's saying it is not going to be supported in the next version. That's what we saw, right? And this is the next version. This is the version 7 which we have. If we open that, whoops, no, I think it is here. Hang on. Are they both using the same ESX file to install? I don't know what is happening here. So where's the console for this one if I click that?
So here, let me take over the screen real quick and let me show you. Hey, how about we just go ahead and delete them all and then just do a fresh one for the 6.7?
Yeah, I think it is going to be better and it will keep the users consistent as well, right?
Alright, well, I'm shut down.
Power off both of them, delete the ISOs from both of them from the background as well, and then we basically start a fresh one.
Okay, no worries. I know what to do.
Okay, let me stop the recording.
Need to control.
Hi guys, we are back. So basically, we just finished the installation of Workstation. Now we are going to start the vCetner installation. Sorry, let's go back. Now there is a slight change in plan. We cannot install the version 7 specifically. We have to install 6.7. This is the limitation of the physical hardware which we are running. This is a what is the series of this server we are running, Ahmed?
It's a T610.
T610, but the CPU is E526 something, which is basically end of life with VMware. Basically, they have said that they will not support it. Now, we will see in a minute when we start the installation of 6.7 that it will say to us that this particular CPU is end of life, and any further support for newer hardware, newer software of VMware will not be allowed on this. So we'll see that message when we do the installation. So basically, let's just close this. So we'll see the message when we start it. So that's where we are going to keep this.
No, just go back to the Big Data Labs and then the software.
Yeah. So the ISO is down here.
Oh.
Okay, wrong folder. Sorry. There you go. And then select next. I'm going to name this ESXi
6. Yeah, 6. Just so that way I know.
Yeah. 6-01.
Okay. Wait. And put it in the data store. No, I mean in my F drive, please.
Yeah. So we are going to change this, and we are going to put it on a a constant location where we basically want to have it in a specific place. So we are going to create a new folder for this, and we are going to call it the same name, ESXi6-01, and then we'll leave it at that. Yeah, there you go, that's selected, and then
nice.
Click next. So we'll give 2 CPUs. Next. So this basically is 4 CPUs, by the way. 2 physical cores and 2 sockets per 2 physical cores. So that is basically 4 CPUs in total. Now pump it up to 16 gig. Why not, right? We have enough memory.
Oh yeah, we have plenty.
Yeah. So just want to get the 6.
I think you have to click 16, the actual 16 button.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's a good catch. Okay. I didn't know that. Learn something new. Okay, so we are going to NAT because this is Workstation. NATing works perfectly fine. I've used it this morning as well. And we are going to use iSCSI. Leave it at recommended, I would say, guys. And then next we'll be doing is creating a new virtual disk, which is fine. will basically now, because this is version 6.5, it is saying recommended size is 40 gig. Can you see that, Ahmed?
Yeah.
So we could leave it at that. I would say leave it to 10, as I said, for installing them, and store it on a single file. And
Okay.
then, guys, do not select allocate all disk space, or it will allocate 10 gig straight away. What we want to do is we want thin provisioning. So basically, you maximize the use of the capacity which you have on your hard drive. So it will grow as the data grows. So that's why basically leave it at basically do not check this box. That's what I mean. And then select next. And that's the file name we are getting. That's fine. Click next.
No, but also put that under the F drive for my VM.
So when we go browse, you can see that it's already here, but we can go back and select the other one which we created, this one.
No, because remember that was on software.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, guys. So we need to go back and create virtual machine and go in virtual machine, and then this is the one which you need to select. And then select that. So this is the location. I got confused with that because of the naming convention. Okay, so there you
I'm sorry, man. I'm just a very organized person.
We have to be, because obviously when you're creating a lab, make sure you structure it on paper or in your head at least, and then you do it. If you do just start doing these things, then it will be a mess. It will be all over the place in every drive, every
exactly.
every folder, and it's not a good thing to do. And especially we are doing this from scratch, so it's a good idea to do it like that. So there you go. That is nearly done, and the Zoom session is going to end in 6 minutes. It says so. We are on a timer here, boys. Let's get this done. So in 6 minutes we'll be installing this ESX and getting it online. So this is loading the media. It normally takes couple of minutes on a flash drive if you're doing on a USB as well. So once the files are loaded, there are 2 to 3 things we will be giving. One is location where you basically are. So it's going to be US, UK keyboard, which we are going to select, and then we are going to set a password, and then it will ask you to install. But this one will error out and say just before continuing, it's not going to error out. It's just going to inform us saying that this is a CPU which is an older model, and hence the newer version of ESX will not be supported on that. Does it make sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what we'll be seeing in the installation. Now let's see what is going to happen here.
Hey, can you close the side panel? Yeah. Thank you.
You read my mind. Yeah. I was just trying to get more space there anyway. Okay, so we are nearly there. As you can see, this is version E5620. So this CPU is going to be discontinued from version 7, guys. So if you are looking to buy this particular model, do not go for this particular CPU. Zen CPUs are basically, enterprise level CPUs anyway, but they are basically VMware. What they are doing is they are discontinuing the hardware, which is like very, very old, right? So they are removing it from the hardware compatibility list. And clearly we saw that today. We tried to do an installation on version 7 and it errored out saying you can't install this because it doesn't come up in the hardware compatibility list. Now what we are doing is basically we are reinstalling this with version 6.7 because there's not much different with version 7 or 6.7. Now what we will be doing is we will not be installing version 6.7 on vCenter. The vCenter we'll be using is going to be vCenter 7 anyway. So there you go. We are ready to install. Click in, and by the way, if you click in this window, you won't be able to get your mouse out or control your mouse again. So to get the control back, you need to press Control and Alt to get the control back again. Okay? Does it make sense? So once I click in and then press enter and then F11 to accept the terms and conditions, and then we'll be ready to go. So hopefully I want to complete this installation very quickly because we are on a timer here. So that is a 10 gig drive I have given. US default, leave it at that. VMware 1 exclamation mark. Are you happy with that?
Wait, no, can you do London 2020?
Oh yeah, why not? I can change that.
I actually got very used to London 2020.
Yeah, believe me, I am too. Okay. Yeah, there you go. So let's delete this and then do London L capital 2020. London L capital 2020.
And I think going forward, now that you're mentoring me, I think going forward, all my passwords will be London 2020, just so that way we're on the same page. If that's fine with you.
Yeah, why not? So I don't know what I did there. L capital 2020 exclamation mark. That's what I missed. Go down, London 2020 exclamation mark. Continue.
Cool.
There you go. This is the error message I was saying you, Ahmed. So the CPU is in the host may not be supported in the future ESXi releases, and we saw that because we tried to install version 7 and it errored out saying it's not compatible. So let's click on continue, and to start the installation we need to press F11. So be mindful of that, guys, and hopefully in 2 minutes time we will get this box running, and then I have to pause a moment because my Zoom session is running out of time, and then we'll restart the session after we get to resume reconnected.
Hey, look, just a quick question. What's your recommendation on what can I upgrade from E5 620, or is that something that I need to talk to a data warehouse server provider?
So basically, I recently bought a Z8 20. I'll check the CPU which is running in there. I think it is 526 something. I need to check the compatibility matrix. Always check the compatibility matrix before you purchase a hardware, whether it is in the compatibility list. Okay, and again, there you go. Installation is done, guys, and we hit enter and it reboots. So we managed to do it within 1 minute. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, right? So we have 1 minute remaining for our Zoom session, and that's it, boys. So we got the workstation installed today. We installed the ESX server, and now in the next session, well, we will continue now. We are not stopping. We are going to continue, and we are basically going to install a FreeNAS, which we will be using for shared storage. Okay, and then we will probably install vCenter server on there. But what I will show you a quick trick is I will provision another 100 gig LUN to this ESX host, and we will actually install the vCenter on the local storage on this ESX host. So that is a neat trick. If you don't have storage, we can use that. And
just a little pause. Is it okay? Once you're going through that, you just kind of explain to me as not really a beginner, but just I'm not so much as a beginner for
Hi guys, so our ESX server is loaded now, and you can see it's basically saying VMware virtual hardware. So usually over here you will see the hardware name, like HP or Dell, whatever. Now basically it's saying VMware Incorporation and VMware 7. So that basically shows that it is a nested environment. Now the next thing we'll be doing, again, this basically has already picked up DHCP IP. Now the first thing I would do, if you're doing it in your lab and you're using NATed setup, I would log in. I would let Ahmed do that while I'm doing the talking. So Ahmed, press F2, log in, and change it to static IP. I don't mind using the same IP address, but just change it. So this is how you log into the ESX host for the first time, and this is what I would expect you guys to do. So you basically go to the password field and then punch in the password. Over here we have set a password which we both agreed on, which is London 2020 exclamation mark.
Log in root?
Yeah, you always need to log in with root because this is a Linux server, and we just log in as a root. And then what we do here is we go to configure. Let me move this window here a little bit.
Just give me 1 second. Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm in the middle of a class that's going on, and it's live. It takes 2 hours.
Okay, so if once we log in here for the first time, you'll see this console. So Ahmed, can you give me control to
yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry about that.
Request control.
Okay, cool. Here I go. You're on.
So guys, I want to walk through this setup. So once you put the password in and you come here, so this will be the default screen which you will be seeing, and the configuration configure management network is where you will be setting up the IP. Reset management is obviously the name as it suggests. We'll reset it, and once we configure the IP, we'll test it here. This is testing. So let's go ahead and do that, right? So let's go ahead in here, and then basically what we'll so we don't have any VLANs. This is our lab, so we will not be touching that. We'll touch this, which is IPv4. What I would do is just simply make it static. Just change it to that if you want to keep it simple, yeah. But obviously you need to remember the IP address which you have here. So it's 172.16.174.129. Now, Ahmed, what we'll do is we'll try and ping this IP from your computer now. You have a command prompt here. So
yes, I do.
Let's ping it. Ping 172.16.174.129. There you go. So basically that says that the NAT setup is working perfectly fine, and I'm happy with that. Let's leave it like that. And then normally I would suggest to disable IPv4, but if we disable it, we need to reboot it, so I wouldn't bother. This name is fine. We don't have a DNS here, but we'll just name it ESX6-01.
And would you be so kind as to explain why we'd go ahead and name a DNS suffix? Like, what's the reason for it?
So if you have a domain, if you do have a domain, then basically the suffix allows you to basically this is not a name, this is a suffix, right? So basically if you have a name like yours vCetner is ESX01, then your domain may be like I have my domain which is called AgileOps. So I would put my agileops.co.uk. So the full domain name, when you basically reach out to it, it will become ESX01.agileops.co.uk. So over here the suffix will really be only the domain, really. So it will be.
So basically, okay. So basically, what you're telling me is that if I go ahead and put this as my suffix, I can actually go on my URL and hit this, and it's going to come to HTML5, right?
If you have DNS running, but we don't have DNS in this environment
right
now.
Okay, I see. Okay.
So cool. That is the only catch. This is why I was just naming it ESX01, because we don't have a domain set up, right? So just leave it at the name, really, ESX6-01. But that is a good question. So suffix is normally used when you have a domain, and it is basically the second part of your domain, not the server part, the second part, which is the domain name. Okay. So we will to save this configuration, escape, and I have seen guys who are struggling who used to press escape and then escape again. That means all your configuration which you have just done is lost. So you need to press escape and press yes, guys. Okay.
But then also, Ibrahim, just one quick question for the DNS configuration. Don't we have to point that to 8.8.8, or is that going to be, or is our DNS going to be used from our NATed router?
It will be from the NATed router. You don't need to explicitly mention. However, it's a good point if you do want to assign a dedicated DNS. Escape from here. The DNS is the third one. Last but one. So you can probably just set it up here. Whoops, my numpad is not open, I guess. So it's 8.8. What did I do? Escape that. Go back in there.
So you would put for the alternate 8.8.8.8.
Yeah, we could potentially do that. And then this is where you actually specify your host name, ESX6.01. Okay. Or sorry, we didn't use dot, we used -01. Yeah. Okay, so that's basically it, the configuration on our side. Escape and press yes. Y. And then we can do a quick test. And it will basically say that it is able to reach everywhere we are saying it to reach. So we'll find out whether it is going to the internet. Yes, it is. So you can see 8.8.8 is responded, and it's okay. It will fail on resolving the name. We know that because we don't have a DNS, right?
Right.
Okay, so that's pretty much it, guys. So what we'll do next is basically we'll use the browser. And we'll connect to this. Can you launch a browser and connect to this?
Of course.
So we'll connect to this IP, and I'll show you how to log into the ESX host first. Now, this ESX is installed on a 10 gig drive. When we want to install something, you need to have shared storage. So if you do not have shared storage and you want to quickly install the vCenter, you can add a 100 gig drive and install the vCenter on the 100 gig drive as an additional drive on the ESX. I'll show you how to do that, and that is the reason why we are using it as a local disk. Now imagine if this is not a virtual server and it's a physical server, and you have extra drive there, you can leverage that drive and you can basically use it temporarily to get your vCenter and your foundation services there. And once you get the shared storage provisioned, which is very important for VMware, and I'll tell you in the coming topics when we cover, we'll do that. So Ava, can you log into the server? Do you remember the IP, or do you need me to capture that for you? So it's 170.
Yes, can you please? Yes, would you be so kind?
Yeah, it's on the ping. It's on the ping.
On the ping?
So basically we did a ping test, right? So just
yeah, right. I got it. Do I put HTTP?
HTTP, yeah, HTTPS actually.
Yes, okay.
So this is the first time we are logging into the vCenter, ESX server, guys. So there you go, continue. So accept. And by the way, if you are not allowed to go proceed from this point, which used to happen a lot on what do you call Mac, you need to type I am unsecure or something like that. So click proceed here at the moment. So
cool. I'm in.
Yeah, just punch in the password and log in, please. Just going to
with the root account, right?
Yeah, root account. Yeah. Brilliant. So this is the first time we have logged in, and as you can see, this is a brand new ESX host. We haven't got anything here. We don't have any VMs running, but we can see the CPU. It's only used 3%. We have 14 gig memory remaining. Yeah. And then storage, we can see we already ate up quite a bit, 56% of it. Okay. We can increase that. That's not a big problem. So what I was saying is we can add storage here for us to install another VM. Okay. We could potentially add storage. So to be able to do that, what we will need to do, we'll need to go back to the workstation. Now this is a quick. Sorry?
Just a quick question. I'm sorry for interrupting you. Is this what we would go ahead and do first once we go ahead and launch our HTML5 client? Like, is this the best practices to go ahead and do the?
To be honest, let's think about it. What do you want to do here first? Tell me. You want to create a VM, right?
That's correct.
And how much is the space we have here remaining?
1 gig.
So can we do anything with that? It's not.
No, so that's why I was asking if we should increase it.
Yeah. So there are two ways to do it. We could potentially increase this. Yeah. That is an option. And this is only available because this is running 6.7. When you are running 7, you won't even able to see this, or you won't able to provision this or anything like that. So coming to version 7, there is a lot of architectural changes within where it installed. So it's actually using 150 gig for the installation itself. Now we basically get away with 10 gig when we are doing this installation with 6.7, right? So free is 1 gig, and it's basically the capacity of the storage is only 2 gig. So it out of the 10 gig I gave it, it's only using how much? 2 gig, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll not touch this because this is where we have installed it, and you know what I mean. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and provision another disk. So we will go back here.
Here you go. Wrong one. Hold on a second. Let me take control of the screen.
Yeah.
Really quick. There's too many tabs. Yeah, this one. So you want to go here. Let me just X out the other ones that are no use.
Yeah. So right click on this. I'll let you do that. I'll right click on this, guys. So this is how you add disk on your workstation, guys. And then you basically go to edit settings, go add, and then when you click add the hard drive, select next, and then I'll let Ahmed decide where to put it. So by default the virtual machine is on the F drive, so this should potentially go on the same one. No, we are not selecting an existing one. Select the
you're right. Good catch.
And then you will give this 100 gig. Okay, and then keep it on single disk. And this is basically a new disk which we have created on this. And this 100 gig, we are going to utilize this for installing VMs and stuff like that. And I understand we don't have shared storage at this moment, but shared storage is a very important topic. We can do so many cool things when we have, obviously, shared storage is important for VMware, right? But for your lab, first thing we are doing is adding some local storage on your ESX host so that you can install some VMs on that. Okay, does it make sense? So I guess we want vCenter server and other critical VMs for your infrastructure. Maybe I'll end up installing a Windows machine and installing DNS there first before we install what you call the vCenter server. So that can be an option. So this is only for the lab, right? In production environment, once you install the ESX host, you'll ask your storage guys to provision the storage and you use your shared storage. Okay, in your real live environment. Okay, so that's nearly done. You can see a new disk there, 100 gig, and this is the original disk, which is only 10 gig, which is fine. Click on OK. Now, how do we provision that? It is how like this. So if we go here storage, we can't see that here. Even if I refresh this, go here and refresh it, you won't be able to see it, right? You'll still see the storage as 2 gig. So to be able to do that, you need to do something called rescan. So to do that, we basically click on storage, okay, and in the storage you can see Datastore 1. So that is the actual Datastore previous one which we have, right? So what we do here is we go to adapters first and then we hit on rescan. So this is basically actually asking VMware virtual adapters to rescan and see whether you have new disk attached from maybe the shared storage, from EMC or Dell 3 power, whatever it is, or NetApp, whatever it is rescan it. Okay, if you have vCenter running, it's a little bit different way to do it, but essentially you need to rescan. Once you rescan it, click refresh. Okay, and now we need to go back to devices and just to validate. There you go, you can see the 100 gig disk here. Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay, so but if you go back on the Datastore, you can't actually see it still. So you need to add a disk. Click on add new Datastore. Okay, and then create a new VMFS Datastore. Click next.
Wait. Ibrahim, is it okay if you let me do that?
Let me cancel it. So all I did in front of you, right? I just went to adapters. After you added the disk, I went to adapters. I hit rescan. That's all I did. Okay, and then you can see the rescan is done. Now I'll let you do it. So go to Datastores. On the top, yeah, click on new Datastore. Yeah, select the first option and then next, and there you go. You see the 100 gig which we just provisioned.
Yes, sir.
You need to give a name first. So you need to give local DS01. So just to understand that this is a local data store, not a shared data store. Hyphen DS. Give.
Wait, how would you like me to name it?
So personally, if you are going to have more than one ESX host, I will name it the server name. So it's going to be ESX6-01. Then you know exactly this is the local data store for this ESX host. Simple as that, right? Hyphen DS, which means data store. Hyphen DS. 01. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's fine. So there you go. It's saying it will be using all this. That's fine. Click next.
Wait, so what does it mean by the before and after? Is it saying that before I had 0?
No. So this basically is saying that you're using everything which you are having. You can do custom, and instead of using all the 100 gig, you can say basically I will use 50 gig, and then later on I will expand. So that is an option. We can do that. So this is why it's saying free. And or usually what we see is basically if you already provision this 100 gig and you add another 20 on top of that. So you can basically see 100 before and then after it will be 120. So
okay, I actually like the better. Yeah. I like the full disk better.
Yeah, it has to be, because obviously we need that much at least to do the installation. So click on finish.
Okay.
So now guys, you will be seeing, yeah, that's fine. Click yes. So it will erase all the data. You will be seeing your first data store. There you go. That's nice. 98 gig. Brilliant. Now in this data store, you can go ahead and create VMs. So you go to VMs. We don't have any VMs at this moment, but you can click create new. And now let me pause for a moment, guys. So I would personally, at this point, we are ready to provision your foundation services. Now, what I mean by foundation services, let me explain you a little bit. Foundation services is the services which you need to run your infrastructure. Okay, I'm just expanding myself so that I can see you guys and have a conversation. Yeah. So foundation services are the services which runs your infrastructure. So in foundation services, the primary things which you get is DNS. Of course, that's a given, right? Obviously, you need
Right.
DNS to run, and vCenter is heavily dependent on the DNS services. So if you do not have a DNS, I would strongly advise you do not give a DNS vCenter name in FQDN. You need to give the IP addresses. Only do the installation with IP addresses. If you accidentally give a name, maybe you chose a vCenter name as VCSA01, and if you accidentally given the name there and you don't have a DNS running, your vCenter will not be able to load later on, or you won't be able to launch or log into that.
Okay.
So be careful with that. Now, second thing, foundation services also means that you have a good NTP source. So this one is quite easy because we are able to go out to the internet. We are using 8.8.8. You just find an NTP server in your location and then find which is local to you and then use that NTP server. Okay. And also DNS server, like foundation services also means you have an AD server. It's handy if you have AD, then you can give permissions. You can play around with permissions. In your lab, if you're playing around with permissions, like giving someone just console access and all that, it'll be easier for you to, work on your work environment or when you get a job and you know exactly how it looks like. So maybe I would suggest at this point, for the moment, go and download Windows 2019. I've downloaded it. It doesn't use a lot of resources. I have done a setup of Windows 2019 running AD and DNS, and it was only using 1 gig. Not more than 1 gig, but you don't
I have the ISO for 2019 server if you want me to go ahead and use that.
Yeah, let's do that. So let's quickly install Windows 2019 server in parallel, and at the background we'll also start installing a FreeNAS, which will be the tool we'll be using for provisioning shared storage, and we'll look into it a little bit more after we do that. So let's create a new virtual machine first to install a AD server for ourselves. So we can call win-dc, which is going to be a domain controller for us, the first one. So that's the naming convention you're following. And then this is compatible on 6.7, which is fine. The OS family, basically, I don't think 2019 will be coming up if we select this, but it's fine. We can select 2016 and install it still on that. So if you look at the OS, we have 2016. Select that, which should be fine.
Wait, what about enable window if you go back?
Yeah.
What about that enable window virtualization based security? Should we just disregard it?
I wouldn't touch anything like that for this moment. So select the data store which you just created. So this is the data store which we created. It's 100 gig. So after formatting and everything, right, creating the walls and the tables for VMFS and everything which we need. I normally call it like it's like a house. When you build a house, you need to build pillars and everything. So that will take space. So that's how it is, right? The walls and everything. So it's actually provisioning you 98 gig, which is fine. Click next, and we are going to give 2 CPUs. 4 gig memory is fine. We have plenty of memory there, but actually after installing I would reduce it, or maybe actually give it 2 gig at this moment, because we are going to install vCenter.
Actually, if I can stop you right there, are we going to give the CPU from the CPU that we already gave to ESXi?
Exactly, because that's what we are using at the moment, right?
Okay, so don't you think it would be better if we actually give the server 4 like 2 just so that way it can speed it up the process, because it's going to take a long time to load?
No, that's fine. We'll be doing other stuff in the background anyway. So leave it at that.
Okay, cool.
Because you don't want to max out the CPUs what you're giving at the moment.
Okay.
So let's click next. No, there's one thing which I forgot to give or forgot to focus in
the ISO
is the storage. So we selected the storage here, which is fine. Click next, customization settings. Now I need to go down here in the hard drive and I need to make sure it is thin provision, or that 100 gig will go like in a whiz, So 40 gig is fine, but make sure you select thin provision, guys. So this is very important, and then click next.
Do we need to go to VM options? That way I can go ahead and add the ISO?
We can, or I'll show you another cool way to do it. Have you got a VMware VMRC running. VMRC is the VMware Remote Console. I think we should be able to use the workstation VMRC as well. If we don't, that's fine. So
I don't know if I have it running.
So this is the configuration. Just to quickly, before finishing it, so we have 2 CPUs, 2 gig memory, and we are going to install 2019. Okay, and this is going to be called Windows VCO1. And also what we need to remember here is we have thin provision the disk. If you scroll down at the bottom, and we see a 40 gig disk, and it is thin provision. So these are the things which you need to keep an eye on, especially for a lab. If you thick provision things can go messy very quickly. So make sure you do that. Click finish, and this is your brand new virtual machine created here. Can you see that, guys? And
yes,
now
sir.
what we'll do is we will open this here. Now if we open it like this, this is not a web, this is just like a web console, and you can't actually add any ISOs or anything like that. Can you see? So the better way to do this is basically, if you go here and then select console, and then select launch remote console. Okay, open workstation remote console. So basically we are going to use the workstation. If you can go ahead and install this, guys. You can install VMRC. So we are using this workstation console for the ease, or else what you need to do is basically this. When you go here to install it for yourself, you go here on actions, consoles, and then basically download VMRC. Do that and install the VMRC. That basically gives you more functionality. By more functionality, it will give you an option to actually mount an ISO while you're doing the work. Okay, so this I'll show you now. So over here we are here, right? So this is our this is our brand new VM. It's booted and it doesn't have any OS, so that's what we are seeing at the moment. So what we'll do here is basically we'll right click on this, and it will say removable devices. This is how easy you can mount. Yeah, and then basically you just need to select. Why is it having disconnect here? We didn't connect anything, right?
No. I think if you hit settings, it'd be better. Okay, so ISO file right there.
Yeah, and then browse. Okay, this is why it was having disconnected. So okay, one thing I wanted to show you guys is, okay, this is one way of doing it, but there is another way of doing it as well. We'll do it later when we do the next setup. So I'll let you guide where it is. I don't know where it is located in your computer.
Here you go, fine. I'll take control.
So I know, guys, this video is going massive big, but if you watch this video, you will be able to properly set up your home lab using workstation. That's all I can offer, really. And again, with Ahmed on board, he's asking the right questions. As a beginner, he's learning this technology with me. He has done quite a few sessions with me on Zoom already, and this is the first time he's trying to set up his own lab, and I think this is the best way for you guys to learn it as well. So this is what I want to say. So
I think I need to turn off this VM actually.
No, I'll tell you what's happening. So it's basically only allowing you to mount the drives from the data store. Okay, so this is why this option which you selected was not going to allow you to do that. So what we do is we right click here. Can you right click on the VM?
Yeah, sure.
And then go to removable devices again, and then disconnect what we have there. Okay, now go back in. Removable devices again. Sorry, no, not there. No, don't go there. I don't want to do that. Right click again, go to removable devices again, and then now connect. Can you see that? Now you can browse and connect locally from your drive. If you don't do this, if you don't have a VMRC, you won't be able to locally. Oh. So see, that is a data store. So you will need to have.
So then, like, how about like we go ahead and add the 2019 server to the data store right now?
So that means you need to upload that. You need to wait. We need to wait for uploading it then.
How long does the upload take?
It will take quite a bit of time, right? So, and again, the whole purpose of this is basically.
So I think the best thing to do, I think the best thing to do is just to shut off this VM. And let me go ahead and
basically just download VMRC. That's the best solution. It's a
okay.
2-minute setup, which allows you directly to basically mount it directly. So just install that, and you can just select the option which I showed you just now, and then we can easily just do that from there. Mount an ISO from there. Yeah, download that. Okay, so we are just downloading the VMRC now. So I would suggest this is very good. It will save you a lot of time. The other alternative option is basically any ISO or anything you want to install, you have to upload it to the Datastore which we just created. And again, we only created a 100 gig Datastore. If you keep on uploading ISOs there, which is like 300 gig, sorry, not 300 gig, 3 gig or 4 gig sometimes, it is going to take up your valuable space. So it's always easier if you have VMRC running, you can directly mount it from your local disk and install the stuff. So where did you save it?
I saved it right over.
Yeah, that's it. Just right click on that.
I'll just open it from here.
Just right click and open it. Yeah, let's install it. You can organize it later on.
Cool.
There you go. This is VMRC which I was talking about, guys.
You're saying that if I have this, then basically I can basically do a hot swap, like in server wise, like a hot swap where you take out a drive. I can basically put the what's it saying here?
Okay, what we need to do, I think, is I
think I opened it twice. That's why.
All right. Okay then. So yeah, leave it on the drive. You don't need to touch that. That's fine. This is just a small installation. I thought VMRC from the workstation would allow us to mount locally, but I guess there is a limitation. It's not allowing us to do that.
And I've never actually used VMware RC, so this is my first time experience. And you're the expert here, so I'm glad that you told me to do it.
It will save us time going forward as well. You'll see how much we'll be using it.
So it wants us to restart.
Yeah, that's another problem. Okay, so I think we are actually running out of time as well. I don't know how much time we have.
We have 6 minutes left.
6 minutes. So let's reboot the machine and then we'll continue after that.
Okay, sounds good.
So welcome back, guys. So we are back. We have rebooted the machine after installing VMRC. So let's get this Windows machine powered on, and we'll be using VMRC. Now you need to remember, for sharing the for connecting the ISO, we can only connect the ISO, or that feature, that option will be only visible if the VM is powered on. It will not be visible when VM is powered off. So go to console and go to launch remote console. So this is the thing I was talking about, and I normally say always anyway, but obviously leave it at that. So there you go. This is the VMRC. Basically opens it in VMRC console. Now the other one is called web console. That basically means it opens in the browser. Okay. So this is VMRC, and you can see if you go here on removable devices, now you have an option to connect ISO or connect to E drive, which is your CD-ROM drive, or you can connect to disk image on file from your disk. So I'll let Ahmed point to the 2016 ISO. So that's how easy it is going to be. So first thing you do after installing the ESX host is install the VMRC, guys, and reboot the machine, because that's a mandatory to do that. So once that is done, double click on that, or what I normally do, okay, it has picked it up already. There you go. Now it should boot. It should definitely boot from there. And that's how easy it is. So you don't need to waste time on uploading everything to the the data stores and wasting the time. So there you go. That's Windows booting, guys. So this is the first virtual machine we are installing on our lab. Happy with that?
Yeah, I'm very happy.
So the next thing we'll be doing is, obviously the installation is quite simple for 2019. We'll start the installation and we'll look at another thing which is basically going to help us for shared storage. Okay, and it is basically called FreeNAS. The version we are going to install is version 11. You can log into the FreeNAS. Ahmed, I'll let you open the website for FreeNAS and guide our viewers how to download it.
So you guys would go type in FreeNAS, and it's the first download link here. Once you go ahead and you thanks. If you don't want to go, just download a page. It's much easier.
Make sure you select that, and then that's it.
And make sure you select 11.3. So I actually already downloaded it, but should I go ahead and download it one more time?
No need. So this is how you get to FreeNAS and download it. And don't go for the legacy one. Go for the 11.3, the latest one. Okay. And again, people have used this in anger as well, and I have seen a lot of people running like test environments and dev environments in FreeNAS. It's a really good product. I have been using it for more than a year. A similar product, if you want to compare with FreeNAS, is OpenFiler. Okay, you can do similarly similar stuff what FreeNAS does. FreeNAS allows you to get NFS share or iSCSI share. So we will be using this for iSCSI storage. Okay, so let's minimize this and we'll go back to what we were doing.
Okay, here you go. You'll take control.
Okay, so let's click on that. There you go. The installation is ready for us. So we don't need to change as we are doing the installation for US. And then click on install. We have actually thin provision a 40 gig drive here. So we will basically just select that and move on with that. So that's pretty much it, and you'll be ready for the Windows 2019 server. Once it is installed, it's up to you what you want to do with it. I personally would do the foundation services, so I would basically install this as an AD and install DNS as well at the same time. So we would go for the data center evaluation edition.
Yeah, the last one, because that's just the GUI.
Desktop experience. Yes, please. Sorry. So that is the one we'll go for, and then click on next.
Between you and me, I always select the data center evaluation.
Yeah, I love that as well. I don't know. Yeah. I don't want to go for the standard edition either.
It's so much better.
Select these terms and conditions as I said, and click next, and then you'll click on customize. And there you go. That's the 40 gig which I was talking about. Click on new, and then it will ask you apply that. And
but why are you clicking on new though? Like why?
So then basically what happens, it creates different partitions. You'll see it in a minute when it creates that. You could potentially just select it and click next and it will do it anyway, but I like to do it this way so I see how many boot partition, recovery partition it makes and all that. So there you go. Okay. So you can see that this is the primary partition where we will be installing it, and this is the MSR partition, the system partition. It's only 99 MB, very tiny, and it's 500 gig recovery partition as well there. So click on next, and that's it. There's nothing else to do apart from once it is done, it will ask you to punch in the administrator password. That's it, guys. So that's first VM installed in our environment, which is a Windows 2019. So let's get on with the FreeNAS then, which is going to be for our shared storage. So same thing, but it's a little bit different here. What we need to understand here is this line here. This is why I asked you over it. So FreeNAS 11.3 requires a 64-bit CPU. So of course we are running a 64-bit CPU and a minimum of 8 GB. And the full hardware requirement are here. So I have already read this. The full hardware requirement basically, if you are doing it on a virtual machine, it's a free BSD version. Okay. So we will need to create a virtual machine, which is there's a lot of commercial advertisement and stuff going on here. So what they basically suggest you is, as you can see here, you can install it on a USB drive as well, and it's super fast to do that, to be honest. I wanted to focus on the capacity. Okay, so they are basically selling the units as well, as you can see here. So there you go. This is free BSD hardware compatibility list. So this basically is a version which is free BSD. So what we'll do is we'll create a virtual machine under free BSD. And again, we will be creating it here on the workstation. Remember that. Not on the ESX host, right? Because this is foundation services for you. So you want it, before you power on your ESX host, you want to power on these, this FreeNAS.
Okay, so let me understand something straight. Okay, so will we have to go ahead and add a new virtual machine and call that FreeNAS?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So
okay,
just, I'll let you do it. Go and
okay, so should I go ahead and do it now?
Yeah. Okay, let me move this, sorry.
What should I select? I don't see VNAS.
Yeah, this is another problem with Workstation. It doesn't seem to give you an option. Okay, click next. And is there a way to select an operating system which we are installing? No, right? Okay, cancel that. Okay, this is only going to be for us, right? For a lab, and you are not going to run any heavy workload on here. So we'll go ahead and do it on the on the ESX itself. So let's go on the ESX. Okay, and then not here, sorry, on your browser. Yeah, right click and create a new VM.
Where do I do that?
So right click anywhere here, but literally if you click on virtual machines, and then create virtual machine, and then click on next. So we will name it FreeNAS. Okay, and then basically over here compatibility and the family it's asking, so we will select other, and then basically we'll select.
Why not Windows?
Because this is a Linux based operating system and it is a FreeBSD version. I showed you
so
on
FreeNAS. So FreeNAS is a Linux based operating system, right?
Yeah, this is why I showed you over here that this is a FreeBSD over here, sorry. FreeBSD based operating system. Can you see that? FreeBSD hardware compatibility list.
Okay.
So this is why we are basically trying to be specific, because we want the better performance from this. So if you select Linux, it won't come in this one in Linux. So if you select this versions, you can see is having everything else, but not FreeBSD, not PSD, sorry. Other, select other, and then basically you will have an option for, there you go, FreeBSD. Can you see that?
Yep.
So I would go for FreeBSD and 64-bit, okay? Because we know it has to be a 64-bit edition. We read it here. Where did we read? We read it here. Okay, we know that. Next. Now, for now, basically, for installing this, it is enough if we give it 20 gig for the installation for its own. And later on, for shared storage, we'll be adding different disk later on. Okay. So we need how much gig? We read the documentation, right? It says how many gig? Do you remember?
I don't remember. Let me flip back to the documentation.
It basically needs 8 gig.
8 gigs. Okay. Sure. Yeah, I have enough. I have plenty for that.
Yeah. And then click on next.
Okay.
Oh, actually, we need to go down and thin provision the disk as well. So it has an 8 GB disk. I normally try to keep it 20 just to be safe. And basically, as always, we'll be thin provisioning it.
Wait, did you already put it 20 or no?
I did. No, I didn't. Hang on. I did type it, but my numlock was off. And I didn't look at it when I was typing on it. Okay, so, oh my god, what am I doing here? Okay, 20, there you go. Okay, another thing we will be doing is basically we'll move the CPUs to 2 and give it 8 gig memory, and then thin provision this. And this is the documentation which I was talking about. As you can see here, 8 GB of RAM and a 64-bit virtual machine. That is what we selected in the beginning. That we selected a FreeBSD 64-bit 64X virtual machine. So that's what we need to do. And then click on next. And you can see the maximum size you can provision on this disk already is only 91 gig because you are installing a Windows installation on there, right?
Right.
So it's using that. So there you go. This is all the details which we have, and that's how you install the virtual machine container for FreeNAS. Now what we'll be doing is we'll basically click on more VMs. So we can see the FreeNAS VM. There you go. We can see it there. Click on that. And then basically we will action and then go to console again, and then in the console you won't be able to add the disk yet because it's not powered on, so we'll power it on. So this installation is going smoothly. Minimize that. Okay, we need to power this on first, and then once it's powered on we can see it powering it on. Then we go here, and then basically you can go console again and then launch remote console, and then remote console, and there you go. Now what we'll be doing is we have already downloaded FreeNAS, and we have it here. We have the FreeNAS here, so we will be okay, it's booting on ESX. We don't want that. Hang on, let's just cancel that. Let's go to removable media and then disconnect this media, and then I will let Ahmed point it to the right FreeNAS media.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah, on top. No, it was on top. Go back. Yeah, on the top, second one. There you go. That's 11.3 U5, and that's when we selected that. All we have to do is Control Alt Del so that we reboot the machine. And should basically pick up FreeNAS. There you go.
Sweet. Yeah.
FreeBS. Okay, so the FreeNAS has booted. We will bring it in the middle and maximize the screen a little bit. Let me click on control, request control.
Okay, my bad. I'm sorry about that.
It's okay.
Okay.
So there you go. So we have FreeNAS here. Let's maximize that. So when you boot FreeNAS, this is what you see. This is the first time we have booted, and this is what we see. And it's so simple installation, guys. It's very simple, I'm telling you. So just if you haven't installed any Linux, this is the easiest one to install, believe me. Because you don't need to do any formatting or anything like that. Okay, let's click on that. Now there you go. I can use this arrows now. So just select the option 1, which is install and upgrade. And you just need to go here and press the space bar to select this, and it has picked up the virtual disk 20 gig. And what we'll be doing going forward is when we need a new LUN, a new disk or new data store for a shared storage, we will go on this virtual machine and we'll add another LUN, and that's how simple it is. And then basically all you do is once you add that LUN, you just go in and provision that LUN going forward. Okay, it's a little bit complicated process, but that's how it is to provision it. So we have to go through it. So we will click on OK. And that's it. It will ask you whether you want to proceed, and click on yes. It will give you a password, so we'll set it up as London
2021 or exclamation mark.
Exclamation mark. So and then go down, London 2020 exclamation mark.
You put the L capitalized, right?
Every time, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Every time. So let's go and click on OK. So this option will come up. Basically I normally say BIOS anyway. So because it's sometimes, you know, UFI put is useful when you're going to have a disk which is over 2 terabytes. Okay, we are not going to, we only have a 20 gig drive there. So that's simple as that, guys. So that's how you install FreeNAS. When it reboots, it will ask you a couple of questions, and then you basically need to go into the web console and then set the IP address as static again, like pretty much how we did for the our ESX host, right? But obviously it will be a different interface. You can do it via command line, or you can log into the IP which it has picked it as a DHCP IP, and then go in via the browser to do that. So that's another option we have. So in detail we'll look at FreeNAS in the coming sessions. So I will basically combine all these sessions in one big session.
Okay.
But I guess obviously today we are recording this, and it's around about 12 o'clock at my place in the UK now. So we'll
so we're running out of time.
Yeah,
I
we're
know.
running out of time, but we'll complete this installation and then we'll continue after that. So don't worry about that error 22 which we saw there. The installation is still going ahead. Let's quickly go back and check at our Windows installation.
Okay, cool.
So just London 2020 exclamation mark. Did you type with me along with that?
Yeah, I think I did.
Oh, there you go.
My bad. My bad.
Okay, you give the password. Don't worry. I'll leave it. Okay. So there you go. So what we'll do is I will refer you guys at this point. There will be a link in the video which has another session which I did with another couple of subscribers of mine on a Zoom session, and in that we use this 2019 server and we install a DNS and AD on that. Okay, so we will not be doing it here, but obviously I will I'll point Ahmed the video and he will install it on here, but and I'll point you guys the same video as well, so just literally use that.
Just a little side note, I'm actually very well versed on installing Active Directory, DNS, DHCP,
brilliant.
all that stuff.
Yeah, brilliant. So this is something which will not be in the remit of the video in the beginning, as well as I said, this I'm just bringing my slide which I showed in the beginning. I didn't mention Windows installation here. I said VMware Workstation installing ESXi 7, which is going to be wrong because we ended up installing 6.7, right? But we'll definitely install vCenter server. So we are doing we did a test VM deployment of Windows, and we are going to do a FreeNAS as we are doing the installation of FreeNAS, and then eventually we will continue with vCenter installation. So log in here. Let's quickly, for the simplicity of the viewers, let's create a quick domain and just do Windows, create a domain which you want, and then just enable DNS as well. Maybe they can just quickly see while we are continuing the setup. This can happen in the parallel and they can learn that.
Do you want me to create the domain, or would you like to create the domain?
You can, and first of all, make sure the IP address is static for this server. That's the first and primary thing we need to do. So guys, when you're setting up a domain controller, you will never set it up on a DHCP, right? Because you wouldn't want it to wander around on a different IP address. So I will let Arafat install it. But what I will do is Ahmed, can you right click on the network here? So that is the IP we have, right? So I think I like that IP 130. This is how I normally do that. So I basically go to can you close this this It's a tricky one, isn't it? Okay, yeah, you can see that. Okay, so I normally go to local servers, and this is the best way for us to learn and work on this environment. So basically you'll see the teaming option and then remote option. So first thing normally I will do is enable remote RDP and all that as well, right? Because we will want it to be on reachable when you're doing it. So what we'll do is we'll click on this network first, double click on this. So Ahmed has kindly opened the command prompt already for me, so that we know what the IP we are going to put in. So I would leave IPv6 because it does get used in Windows world, believe me or not. Oh, okay. So Ahmed, can you bring up the command prompt and we can punch in the details in? So what did it take? Oh, we need to, no, inside here. That's, we have it here. Hang on. Sorry. We have it here. You already did that. See?
Hold on a second.
Yeah, but Ahmad, I think command prompt is here. See?
Oh, did it show it?
Yeah.
Oh, did we do this as bridge or not?
So this will be, this basically is not a bridge or an NAT. This is basically on your VMware environment, right? On your ESX server. So it has actually picked up an IP address from there, right? So basically, I think it's going out to your router to get it, probably. See, can you see the IP address range?
Yeah, but the thing is that, here, hold on a second, let me go ahead. Let me show you something real quick. The thing is that, okay, I see what you're doing. Okay, I'm gonna leave it to you. Here you go.
So this is basically installed here on the vCenter server. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what it is. So let's go back to the console again. Not there, not there, not over here. Okay, so FreeNAS installation is done in the background. Just hit on that and then basically reboot the system. Reboot, where's the reboot? Yeah, and then click enter. And that's it. That's how you install FreeNAS, and in the background we are doing this setup.
Okay, so what kind of IP did you want to set up?
The same IP. I think it has picked up from the NATing as well.
Exactly. So
yeah.
I'm gonna set it up with that one, okay? Okay.
Boys, don't get confused. We are doing so many things here, but that's how a lab works, right? You have to multitask. So we did a FreeNAS installation in the background, and we did a Windows installation. The Windows server we are going to make as a DNS and DHCP. So we are just setting it on a static IP address. And also I would suggest change the name of the server and enable RDP. So that's what we are going to do.
You like to keep IPv6 checked or no?
Leave it checked.
All right. Give me a second.
Just open the command prompt. It's on the command prompt.
This?
Yeah. Open the command prompt. Yeah, there you go. Oh, is that not?
No, I'm looking for the 172.
Yeah. Scroll down. Why is it not coming up there?
No, because I wrote it down somewhere.
Yeah, I think it's gone. Yeah, you copied it there. I think it's let me show you. I think we could potentially do it a different way. I'll just take a screenshot when you open it, and then we can do it from there.
Sure.
Okay, let's go back.
Where's my VM though?
It's here. So it's in here. All these VMs are here. So everything will be here on the VMRC console, right? So there you go. So the easiest way I think would be just to cancel this for now, and then go cancel this again, and then I'll just go to details, and then I will take a screenshot here with snip tool. Click on new. Yeah, there you go. So I got all the details which we need, so I can dictate you. Come on, let's go in. So the IP address is 172.16, 174.130, 174.130, 130, sorry, 130.
Default gateway was 2, right? 172.16.
172.60, 174, and then 2. So this is a /16 subnet.
Oh, no, it should have been 255. And in order for it to be pointing back, I have to point it back to this number. So 172.
Yeah.
16.
And then also add a Google DNS there so that you can reach out. Okay, now what I would suggest is click on OK, just for sure. Yeah, click on OK and then change the name for the server to the Windows server name which we want it to be. So it's going to be WinDC01. So guys, this I know is becoming a big session. I don't know whether you guys will be interested in watching it this much, but if you are setting up a brand new lab, you need to spend time. You need to spend time to do it properly. So no, it won't be any domain. Leave it at workgroup because this is going to become the domain controller, right? Yeah, you will need to restart it. Click on that.
Wait, but don't you want to go ahead and add the roles too?
Not yet. We need it to be renamed first and rebooted. Although what I would suggest is just we will enable the RDP so we can work a little bit efficiently on that. Yeah. Hang on. Go back in. You have the checkbox there. You need to disable that checkbox or else it will basically ask for security, the network level authentication security level. Okay, so that's it. Now we are happy to reboot it. Yeah, power off. Yeah, similar things which I do as well when I spin up a server.
Yeah, we think the same way, man.
Yeah. I would just reboot it now quickly.
Okay. Do I reboot it from here or do I reboot it from here?
No, just from Windows. But I wanted to see what is coming up here. Just 1 second.
Go ahead.
No, it's nothing there. Okay, so the best way to do it, basically right click here and then
wait, but why don't I just reboot it from the actual VMware itself or
we don't have VMware tools. We don't have VMware tools installed.
So basically we're gonna update the whole computer.
We just need to restart it for now.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so or we can shut it down and power it on, but I think updates and restart, so it might take a little while. But I'll tell you what, guys, the important thing which we need to remember is basically we are going to use this as an AD server, right? So right. We need to make sure it is rebooted when it needs to, because then it can create problems going forward. So we will reboot it. We have renamed the server. Let's reboot it and let it take how long it will need to take. And the another most important thing I think before that is just to install VMware tools. So let's pause for a moment. Go to VMware website and download the VMware tools. Actually, we don't need to. All we have to do is right click here and see whether we can mount VMware tools, guest OS. Actually,
yeah, there it is, right there.
Yeah, that's there. Mount. Okay, so now when we done that, what we'll do is go back. Yeah, go back in and install those tools. So go to C drive. Yeah, there you go. That.
Oh no, this isn't my VMware C drive though.
Yeah, not that here. Yeah, go in. Another tip I would say, Ahmad, is what I would do. This is what I normally do. I basically put the taskbar in the top. So can you put the taskbar on the top for this VM?
I'm trying. Give me a second. Let's see.
Scroll down first. Scroll down here.
Oh, you're right. I can scroll down. Okay, excellent. Let me move this taskbar.
On the top. So first right click and you need to right click lock. Yeah, remove the lock, then put it on the top. You know, the updates was only for your computer. If I would have rebooted, I would have rebooted your Windows machine, Windows 2012 machine. No, that's fine. No. Leave it for now.
On the top, right? You want the taskbar to be on the top, right?
Yeah. That's fine. Oh, you went for a long-winded way, mate. I'm telling you. I normally just drag and drop wherever I want.
Oh no, man! I like doing the like the point and click. I just feel more comfortable doing that.
Okay, let's install this. So this,
okay, good to go.
Yeah, typical. Fine. We don't want to touch. Boys, when you're installing a Windows machine, if you're creating a template or anything like that, first of all, you need to install VMware tools. It's very important. It increases the performance of the system. It also allows you to control the system, where you can do operations from the VMware, like shut it down and reboot and stuff like that. So first thing you need to do is install VMware tools, and of course it will ask for a reboot, so reboot it once after that. So we did like 3 things here. We set an IP address on the first brand new build machine. We set a name which we need for the machine, because Windows basically comes with a junk name on its own, right? And then basically, instead of rebooting at that point, we pause for a moment, downloaded connected VMware tools and install VMware tools, and then reboot at that point. When it comes back to us, then we can go and install VMware Active Directory services and DNS, and then we'll call it a day today. But I will pause this video and we will merge the video with other stuff which we'll be doing, which is, actually I think we'll pause the video after that, right? Because we have covered a lot, and then the next session we'll be doing is working ahead with FreeNAS and creating setting up the VNAS, configuring the VNAS as a whole. And then when we get the vCenter running, what we'll do is we'll attach these ESX hosts which we have built to the vCenter server, and then go ahead, click on finish, and then it will reboot. And then attach the ESX host to the vCenter server, and once those are attached to the vCenter server, so in the next session, look out for the installation of vCenter server, and then look out for adding these hosts to the vCenter server which we'll be building. Because we have the AD server running, we will be having a really nice lab environment, which I don't know what AD domain Ahmed is planning to install, but it will be a proper domain name and it will be a proper setup, not running on an IP address.
So the thing is that the way I organize my Active Directory for my home labs, I go ahead and I use the planetary names like Neptune, Venus, Mars, Jupiter.
Yeah.
So for this one particularly, I would like to call it space.local, if that's fine with you.
Yeah, why not? .local is the domain name, right? Space.local. Yeah.
So Ibrahim bhai, so did you just want to get the FreeNAS set up and then we'll call it a day, and then the next session we'll set up Active Directory, or or like how did you want to do it?
So FreeNAS, we can set it up now, or
you want to save it for a different day, because we've already covered a lot.
We have covered a lot, and the video has gone over 1.5 hours already. So
okay, fine.
Let's cover it in another video, guys. So next video, what we'll do is maybe we can cover this DNS installation. Just log in here, and then DNS setup is quickly and AD setup is quickly, and we'll call it a day. And then in the next session, we will install the vCenter server, and then we'll work on the continuation part of FreeNAS, where we'll basically set it up properly. We'll configure. There are 3 parts in setting up VNAS. First part is the installation, which we have done. The second part will be configuration of VNAS, and then the third part is configuration of the ESX host to able to use that shared storage. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and I have already done dedicated videos on FreeNAS. It is in the playlist already called FreeNAS. So you can check it out if you want to. Okay, so over here we are going to install AD, and again it's your AD. You can have a domain whatever you like. I basically have my AD as agileops.co.uk, and I had hard time getting to my blog after I set up my own AD with agileops.co.uk, and I had to do I had to put 2 pointer records to point to my blog, and I can only go to my blog if I type www now. So that was interesting.
So you want me to set up AD and DHCP and DNS?
No DHCP, just DHCP is working very well from Workstation, so we'll use the same DHCP.
Okay, cool. So I'm just doing Active Directory and DNS.
Just for the moment. So basically, this session here, guys, we are basically prepared our Windows server. We gave it a static IP. We gave it a proper name, which is as you can see here, a Windows DC01, and now we already installed the VMware tool. That is why you can see the graphics is more mature and you can see it properly, right? So that is the advantage of VMware tools. And also you can see the IP address as well. If we go down and see see what you call our VMware, and then you can see the IP address of this server as well from VMware side as well, which is another advantage. Okay, so we have set it to an IP which we already know, which is 130 at the end, right? Yeah, there you go, that IP, but we'll show that things later. So let's go ahead and continue the installation. So we are going to install the foundation services for us for our lab, which is, you know, primarily the Active Directory and the DNS, and then click on next. Leave that as it is, click on next, unless you wanted to add anything else, Ahmed.
No.
Yeah?
No,
okay.
this is fine.
So we will need to restart it after everything is done. So click on install.
You know, I thought once you go ahead and install Active Directory, you have to put it in a domain. Is that incorrect?
No, once you install AD, it will become the domain controller.
Right. But we have to specify, like, we have to go ahead and add space.local, right?
No need to. I have my domain set up as agileops.co.uk.
No, but in the past, whenever like I wanted to go ahead and set up a domain controller, I would have to add DHCP and DNS. But originally when I added DHCP, after I changed the name, then after I did the reboot, then I went ahead and added the domain space.local. I'll show you what I'm talking about.
So you could put,
because I think there's two ways of doing it.
Okay. So explain me again what you just said.
Okay, so basically in the past, how I've done it was that when I went ahead and wanted to have multiple VM environments,
yeah,
and I needed one domain controller, I would go ahead and add the roles. First, I would do a static IP, and then from there I would install Active Directory, and then I would change the name, and then I would reboot, and then from there, because it's a domain control, it needs to be part of a domain. So I had to manually add, you know, space.local to the domain itself.
Nope. Where is that? If you manually add space.local there, it will say give me the credentials for the domain. You're adding me to a domain. Where is it? I can't see the domain. So it will ask you for the administrator password, username and password for adding to that domain. But that doesn't exist in your environment. So this is our primary domain controller which we are setting up.
Okay. But can I show you? Okay, but can I show you what I'm talking about after we install this, just so that way maybe you can see what I'm talking about? Because I feel like there's like a disconnect. You're not seeing. I mean, I'm not being able to express myself as clear as I would like to.
So basically, what you're saying, I think. So the installation is still going on. Let's leave it here.
Yeah. So let's minimize this, if you will.
Yeah, let the viewers watch it. So that's fine. It's nearly done. But you were telling about this one, right?
Exactly. So then I would go to change, and then I would put it into the domain space.local, and then my domain controller would be space.local domain controller.
You don't need to do it. I never done it. I have installed
so many
domain controllers. Yeah.
Okay,
it will automatically, it is the domain controller. It is the primary domain controller. You will need to do it if you, and again, you don't even need to do it if you are installing the secondary domain controller, because you never add the secondary domain controller. You only add to the domain to the client machines only. So if you have another 2019 or Windows 2008 server or 2010 server to add to the domain only, then you will do it. But for the domain controller, it will automatically detect that it is the domain controller, and it will create a specific organizational unit in the AD, and it will add it there. You'll see it when the AD is done. So you don't need to manually do that here.
Okay, now, is that because we're doing all this through ESXi?
Nothing to do with ESX here. This is just Windows installation, right?
Okay, because I have never seen that happen on my end. So I would like to see that.
Okay, yeah. I think we might be disconnecting soon again. I don't know. I didn't see the time.
You see, so it's saying to promote this thing to a domain controller. Should I click it?
So yeah. So you can click this. We are ready for the next part. So there are two parts in installation. First part was the installing part, and now we are creating domain.
Okay, so this is actually where I would have to do it. This is so like I would add a new forest, and then I would do space.local.
Yeah, this is the wizard. insert, right? You would not do it there. You would do it here.
Right. Oh, you know what I'm talking about? Oh, my bad. I was adding other
You are adding other
domains.
machines
Exactly, and that's how I did it. Okay.
But this is
My
your
bad.
domain controller, so you would not do it like that, right?
No,
this
yeah,
is,
you're
this
right.
Is the
You're
primary
right.
domain.
You're right, man. I'm talking to the expert. My bad.
It's okay. Don't worry. So this is why I was saying this is your primary domain controller, and you don't have any other domain. If you go ahead and put that there, then it'll ask you to put in the username and password, right? So this is your primary domain controller. Space.local. Okay.
Forest. Oh.
Yeah, it's a new one. Yeah.
Next. Here, you want to take control of the screen from here?
So that is what the domain you want is space. So your vCenter will come up as space.local as well.
Okay.
Yeah, vcsa.space.local.
And the password London 2020. Oh wait. Oh, caps lock is on. Okay. By the way, have you ever done a standalone install of like upgrading from 2016 to a 2019?
No, I haven't.
Okay,
It's a good exercise. You can do it here on your lab.
Yeah, because I'm gonna have to do that anyways.
So create DNS delegate. Select that.
Oh, I have to click it. Okay. I've never clicked that. So
yeah, I think it's grayed out. Okay, just create. I think delegation will be created automatically, right here. Because this is the first one, right?
Yeah, so it's going to pick up space.local.
That's it. It will pick up the domain name.
Yeah. Or space. Yeah.
That's the NetBIOS name, which is fine. For me, it's just Agile Ops.
I actually like your name. I'm not going to lie.
Thank you.
Okay, wait. So this is all stored on my C drive. Can we put this all on my D drive?
You don't have a D drive.
Oh yeah, because this is inside the VM itself.
That's it, yeah.
Gotcha.
So there you go. This is the part 2 of the installation setup, and this is your domain setup, and the domain is called space.local. There you go. And that's it. When we reboot this, guys, this is going to be our domain controller, and we are now ready for the next part of the installation, which will be in the next video. We'll be continuing with the vCenter installation, and then we'll add the ESX host there, and then I will show you the remaining 2 parts of the FreeNAS installation and setup, and that will be done in the next session. You'll be fully equipped to start using your own virtual lab at home.
Awesome. When do you want the next session to be? On Sunday?
Sunday is good, yeah.
Sunday is good. I know that we didn't plan on time. Is there a set time you would like me to plan to meet? Because I think it's just going to be us from now on. I don't know if any other participants joined, right?
Yeah. So that's fine. If you do have a set time, just message me, and then I'll work around my time as well. I normally am busy in the morning. I will be free after 6ish anyway, UK time.
What time is that by like off the top of your head in Dallas? Do you know?
So that will be around 1 o'clock, I guess, for you.
Okay, fine. So you're free at that time though?
Yeah, after 6, which will be around 1 or 2 o'clock for you guys.
Okay, perfect. So I'm free then. So inshallah, I have your direct WhatsApp, so I'll just be communicating to you over there then.
Yeah, let's just wait for this installation to finish, and then we'll reboot and show everyone how we will log into space.local, which is going to be our domain, and that is done for this session today then.
So for the next session, you're going to show me exactly the data store, the vSAN, and configuring NAS for the VMs, correct?
Yeah, the data store, not the vSAN. vSAN is a completely different topic and completely different product. Okay, the FreeNAS is the word you're looking for. Okay.
Yeah, I think it wants to restart.
Yes, that's it. You have to restart it, and we are done. So guys, we have completed so much things in this video. It's just over 1.5 hours, I would say. But what we have completed or achieved today is we have installed successfully a workstation, VMware Workstation version 16 over here. But you can go for version 15 on eBay. You get cheap licenses for that. You could, and it is genuine because it's an older version. I think they are giving it for cheap, and you can get a Workstation 15 license and then install ESXi 6.7. And you can install vCenter. If you want all the foundation services, install a 2019 evaluation version there, Windows Server 2019, and install AD and DNS on there, how we just did. In the next session, we'll be doing the vCenter server installation first, because now we have the foundation server, the DNS running. Then what we'll be doing is we will be completing this other two part of FreeNAS. So we'll be configuring the FreeNAS first, and then we'll be configuring the ESX host to add storage from the FreeNAS so that you can have shared storage. And in the meanwhile, I would say Ahmed can go and install another ESX 6.7. So we have a cluster of 2 ESX running, and we can do other cool stuff like load balancing, not load balancing, like HA and DRS and all that. So shared storage is very important for VMware, because if one VM goes down, the other VM can, the other ESX host can power it on. It can only do that if you have shared storage. If you have it running on your local disk, if that VM goes down, what happens? The VM cannot be recovered up until you fix your ESX host. So that is a single point of failure, right? So that is why HA and all that features are. This has all been covered in detail in the 6.7 training track, which I have delivered already. So feel free to check out these things. So that's it. We are ready to log into our vCenter, our AD server here. We have a couple of minutes remaining for this Zoom session again, but yeah, we're nearly there. It does take time for the first time anyway, because it's basically your first domain.
Supposed to be a little bit faster. I don't know why it's taking forever.
Remember, it only has 2 gig memory and 2 CPUs.
Oh, okay. So next time, whenever we provision a new server, do you think it's possible we just add more CPU?
Add more CPU and memory, and then later on, once everything is done, you can reduce it back to 2 gig. Because I'm in a agreement that we should not give more than what it needs. If you see, once you have AD services and DNS running, it doesn't take more than 800 MB of resources, 800 to 1 gig. So let's leave it at 2, which you should be happy with that, because you wouldn't have a lot of DNS entries in there anyway. It's just your lab, right?
Right.
Let's pause the video for a moment so that we save time.
Sure.
Okay, so we are ready to log in. So this is the first time we are going to log in on Center Control Alt Del, and the domain is /administrator. So there you go, and that's it. That's your AD installed. You can create DNS entries. You can create user accounts and stuff like that. And that's it, boys. So what we'll do is we'll continue the session next week, and that will be the session 2 of setting up your home lab on Workstation. Cheers, bye. Oh yeah, don't forget to subscribe.